welcome to another episode of Rift News, the only show on the internet that avoids all spoilers for our favorite shows. But because someone is going to spoil it for you in the comments anyway, Snape kills the Night King and Ghost sits on the Iron Throne. Now with that out of the way, let's have a look at what is happening in the world of League of Legends. First of all, let's start with what you can find on the live servers. If you log into League right now, you'll be surprised by the first wave of the MSI celebrations. But besides the classic loot that you can expect with any other event, this time around you can also pick a house that you want to represent. Right now, these houses don't really do anything. As far as I know, there's only one mission that makes you watch 2 MSI games. But that should change on the 8th of May, which is actually today. So today is the day that we should get the real missions that will make you represent your house. So here's a quick summary of all of them. The Council are the smart tacticians. The United are those who rely on teamwork. The Faceless like to think outside the box, and the Warband relies on brute force. If you are interested in what I picked, I was convinced that I would go for the Faceless, since I main support Swain, and that is definitely an off-meta pick. But I am still a little bit of a hipster, and when I learned that a lot of people went for the Faceless just because they like their logo, I went with those who prefer supports instead. I might actually upload my entire picking and decision making on our second channel. Anyway, let's hope that the missions that we should get today actually reflect the houses. I hope that if you play the Faceless, you'll have to play weird champion combinations. Now, as I said, this event also brought in loot, as always. But there are some important things to mention here. This is the first time an event pass grants you prestige points. We talked about this in some previous videos, and finally it is here. So if there is one thing I would recommend buying this time, it is the pass. The other important thing is that the MSI tokens that you can get from the missions and from the pass itself will carry over to the second wave of the MSI event. And in my opinion, the second wave is what really matters. Even though we get more house missions on the 8th, on the 15th of May we are getting the Battle Academia event. And during that event you can spend the MSI tokens on chroma skins, wards, borders, and even a new prestige skin. So I hope you didn't spend any of the tokens yet, because it is definitely worth keeping them for now. If you are interested in the specific items in the store, you can click on this tab in your client, and it will show you all the future items. And because you might not even recognize some of the things you see here, let's have a look at PBE that reveals what's happening. First of all, the biggest thing on PBE right now is the next champion, Yuumi. We didn't properly talk about her on this channel yet, but at this point it is too late. Just know that I am in love with this champion. Even though Yuumi's bio has been up for a while now, we should get her short story today. That's why I was waiting with her video. I want to cover her complete story when we get all the parts. But the other major thing on PBE is the Battle Academia series. These are the promised skins from the Shonen anime themed universe that we learned about from Carlos in January of this year.
We're also going to continue to explore new themes. There's one in particular that I'm really excited about that's going to happen early in the year. It's inspired by Shonen anime, and it's going to feature a cast of superpower individuals that you know, as well as a new champion.
Before we get into the specific skins, it is interesting to see that the Battle Academia classes match the house colors. That's why I think that the houses we picked might transfer into this event. But anyway, let's have a look at the skins. First of all, we got a brand new legendary skin for Ezreal. I kinda understand why people got mad that Ezreal gets a legendary skin when he already has so many other skins. But to be honest, he fits the theme really well, so I'll let it slip by this time. What's important is that this skin has amazing animations. You can tell that this skin was a passion project. Everything he does is quirky and weird, just like you would expect from a lead anime character. What I love especially is that his E turned into a dash. It gives him so much more character. He also goes Super Saiyan if you get full stacks on his passive. But the one off-putting thing might be his voice.
I'm sorry, Lux. I love you. Ah! I didn't say that!
Obviously, he was written to be the typical cringy anime school character. I get it, and I really don't mind it. But it might be too cringy for some people. Next we have Lux, which again, I understand that people are mad that Lux gets yet another skin, even though she has so many already. But again, I understand that Lux fits the theme really well, so I don't mind her either. It's just that both of them are also parts of the Star Guardian lines. However, this is a really cool skin that puts a different twist on her, but what might have been an overkill is the prestige version. Because Lux is a really popular champion, she is guaranteed to generate a lot of profit. And if you remember that League is a free-to-play game, it makes sense for Riot to focus more on champions that keep the game rolling. However, I don't think a Prestige edition of Lux was necessary. Don't get me wrong, it looks cool, even though I like the original more. But it feels like literally any other skin from this series could have worked just as well. For example, the next one, Jace. This is a really good one. Not only is it totally different from all his other skins, but the design of his hammer is also very unique. Then we have Katarina, which again adds a nice little twist to her character, and her weapon design is also incredible. It is nothing like her other skins. Next there is Battle Professor Graves, who's one of the teachers at their school. A lot of people expected Rise or even Jin to be one of their teachers, and I understand why, but Graves fits this role really well too. The last skin is Battle Principal Yumi, which is Yumi's launch skin. The interesting thing is that all of these skins follow the Battle Academia hierarchy. The black logo is reserved for teachers. That's why Yumi wears it around her neck, and Graves has it on his back. But the rest of the students had their class marks on their clothes. If the classes end up being connected to the houses we picked, Jace is with the Council, Katarina is Warband, Lux is with the United, and Ezreal is Faceless. Also, because Jace is the class president, you can see him everywhere in all the other splash arts. When it comes to their chroma skins, they are really cool this time around. There are no random colors, it's just a great design all around. As always, remember that the red chromas are reserved for bundles, so you can get the red ones only if you buy all the other chromas at once. Also, remember that the emerald green chromas are given away by the League Partner Program, and this time around we'll be giving away the emerald Jace. Lastly, there is one more special chroma this time. All of the black and white chroma skins that are titled as formal are unique to the MSI store, so they can be bought with the MSI tokens and they might not return. So keep in mind that the black and white ones are special. They are probably here instead of the gold versions, and I am happy about that, because I really don't like the fact that Riot is turning everything into just gold. As always, with all of these skins we are also getting a bunch of icons, wards and emotes. Especially keep an eye on these nightmares, that represent the Poke emote in League of Legends. And the Golden House emotes that will likely be the final rewards for the missions. We also get a bread emote. Interestingly enough, we also get Battle Academia loot. And I wonder how different it will be from the MSI loot. Right now Surrender at 20 only data mined the assets, so we don't know what they will drop. But we know there is another capsule for Twitch Prime, and there is a new kind of a rare bag. The last thing worth mentioning on PBE is that Malphite is getting a soft rework. This means that his visuals will stay the same, but his gameplay will change a bit. The primary focus is to change all the abilities that don't feel impactful. In Malphite's case, it is his W. Let's be honest, no one feels anything but disappointment when you press that ability. It's like witnessing the CGI Sonic for the first time. So expect Malphite to be different the next time he comes out of PBE. Right now, his Q seems to be nearly the same. The only difference is that it will travel faster, it will start traveling from Malphite's right arm, because if you don't know, it actually started from behind him, and the cast time on that ability will be doubled. His W was entirely scratched. It will now act as an auto-attack reset, and it will make his auto-attacks cleave enemies in front of him for 6 seconds. Right now, it acts exactly the same as Titanic Hydra. His E seems to be the same, and his ultimate has updated visuals. A cool thing to note is that Malphite's size will now scale with his armor. Now, with everything important on PBE covered, let's have a look at all the other interesting news. First of all, we got a teaser for Lux's comic. It will feature Lux, Garen and Sylas, but we don't know how much it will progress the story forward. On Riot's merch store we also got a lot of new merch. Not only did we get a new line of clothes for the season 2019 of League of Legends, but we also got a new stuff themed after Dunkmaster Darius, if you want to look exactly like him, besides his muscular figure, which is pretty much everything he is. You can buy the whole set including his headband. If not, there is also a generic shirt and a hoodie. You can also get a Dunkmaster Darius collectible figure, but it is the XL version, which means that it will awkwardly stand above all the others. 2 weeks ago, Riot also showed us something very interesting. They managed to send Teemo into space. Kind of. In March 2018, the master students of satellite technology contacted Riot, asking for astronaut Teemo or Astronautilus stickers. And almost exactly a year later, Teemo began his journey to space. This was all a part of the Daedalus project, that focused on improving space vehicle stability and their reusability. The outcome of this project was the Space Seed, a small device that would gather long-distance data and return. The plan was to get it into space on the back of Rexus 23, a rocket the team built in the S-Range Space Center in Sweden, and Teemo would play a crucial part of decorating that rocket. Here we even got a picture showing us the entire plan. The rocket would fly up into space, it would break into smaller chunks, and the space seat would safely land without the use of parachute or any other mechanical parts. Long story short, Teemo did in fact take this journey, but his part detached right before he technically reached space. Teemo made it 75 kilometers into the mesosphere, which is not the outer space. The funny thing is that Teemo got lost in the process. While the team managed to collect all the pieces of this project, Teemo simply disappeared. The material wouldn't burn in the atmosphere, and he certainly didn't leave the orbit. So if you live somewhere around Sweden, check your backyard. Maybe you will find a missing Teemo there. Now, before we wrap this video up with Ask Riot, we have one more important update with the little demon Tristana skin. This time we got her proper model and her splash art. If you don't remember, last time people voted on which splash art she should have. I'm glad to see that she got the one I preferred as well. But the main point of this post is the model, so let's have a look at that. When we talk about sculpting champions, you need to remember that all 3D models are just 2D images wrapped around a skeleton. So if you unwrap the image, this is what we get. It looks a little bit like a nightmare, but trust me, it makes sense. Anyway, this was the first pass we got. This model is as basic as it can get. The main point of it is to explore the colors. And on this image especially, you can see that she is far too pink. So Riot chose to tone it down a bit. And this was the outcome. Here Riot toned down the neon pink and they fleshed out the details. This version is getting pretty close to the final textures. So with the model done, it was time to start with the animations. And we already got her recall settled. We also got a lot of interesting information on how the filters on her voice and her spells were done. There is no point in playing all the sound clips, but as you'll see from the following video, she's getting the classic demon filter. So here's a video where her skin stands right now with her new model, spell effects and voice filter.
I bravely volunteer to charge in recklessly. Over there, Buster.
And now, to finish this off, let's have a look at the newest, although a little bit shorter, Ask Riot. Are you going to fix the client? A very popular question these days, answered by Darth Batman. Yes, our first priority is to fix problems in Champion Select, as they are sometimes causing players to unintentionally dodge games, because they were unable to consistently lock in champions. Once the work on the Champ Select is done, we'll move on to improving other areas of the client. We'll start to roll out our first round of improvements in the next few weeks. Is Hextech a clean energy source? Or does it result in some sort of a magical pollution or something similar? A lore question answered by Skethloke. Apparently, Hextech is one of the cleanest sources of energy Piltover could ever hope for. There doesn't seem to be any radiation from it, and it seems to run indefinitely. The only problem is that Hextech is expensive. On the other side, you have Chemtech, that is widely available, but it is experimental and dangerous. So these two technologies were designed to be in contrast. Why are you increasing the pace of the game? The chances from last season to this season seem bent on speeding up matches, which makes comebacks feel improbable and strategy feel pointless. This one was answered by Riot Repertoire. In 2019, Riot's goal was to keep the game times exactly the same, so if games are quicker, it is by accident. Riot even added turret plating to keep the games longer. But the interesting thing is that comebacks are not related to game times. In fact, statistically speaking, comebacks are more probable now than they were in 2018. But when it comes to game times, one of the main reasons why games are faster is because players are simply better. Because everyone had years of practice at mastering Summoner's Rift, people know what to do to take advantage of being ahead and close the game. Players are simply better at planning out strategies. So in summary, Riot isn't trying to shorter games. They are trying to keep them the same. So if something happens and the games end faster, Riot will step in. But that is it for this episode of Rift News. Now excuse me, I gotta have a look at the lore of a magical cat. But he only does tricks when he feels like it. Hey, did you know that we have social media and Twitch where we talk about other League facts and stories? And did you know that we have need mugs and shirts too? The links to all of that will be below. And as always, thank you, come again.